Welcome back, everybody, to TacosTheGeeks.com. Justin here, back with more video game reviews, and today we're going to be reviewing the video game Trek to Yomi. As always, I give you a brief synopsis, so here we go. As a vow to his dying master, the young swordsman Hiroki is sworn to protect his town and the people he loves against all threats. Faced with tragedy and bound to duty, the lone samurai must voyage beyond life and death to confront himself and decide his path forward. When it comes to the story, I would say that this is the game's biggest, strongest point. It is a very strong story about revenge, glory, honor, and it does pay a lot of homage to the samurai films from back in the day, those black and white samurai films. It's a very cliche story at times as well because you've seen these type of revenge type of samurai stories before. It doesn't really add anything really new, but it is a nice journey of an interactive journey of Hiroki and just kind of a reflection of himself, of his desire of honor. Even at a young age, when you're introduced to him, all he cares about is honor, glory, and doing what's best for his master and living up to expectations. So it's a nice character study and examination on Hiroki, and I thought the story was solid enough that definitely kept me going. And also, a great thing about it is the graphics and the presentation, which we're going to talk about right now. The graphics and sound. Now, graphically, they're going for this cinematic, ancient samurai, old school type of feel to it, of the 1950s, 60s, 30s type of era. And you can see that with its black and white gray scale palette, and it works. It really works. Even if you look at the aspect ratios, as you can see, it is presented into you like it's a film, and I thought that worked very, very well. It gives you just the way it brings you into it, just from the presentation alone, from the graphically, when it comes to the lighting, the presentation, the voice acting, the music. You really do feel like you're watching an old school samurai film, and I thought that worked very, very well, just from the use of the lighting, the pacing, just the way the aesthetics look. This was really kept me going. It's a very beautifully aesthetic looking game. Now, playing the game, I kind of wonder what this game will look like in color. What will the game? How can we really judge it? Does it look as good in color? That's what I was when I was playing this. Like, one of the questions arose for me was like, how does this game look in color? But for the most part, for what the developers want to go for, of giving you a nice old school samurai film when it comes to story, presentation, sound, voice acting, soundtrack is very, very beautiful, very, very beautiful. I love the soundtrack. It really does feel like the old school samurai films, and you're gonna enjoy that if you're a fan of those type of films. But otherwise than that, I really didn't experience much from a graphic standpoint. Didn't really experience much graphical hiccups. I would say the loading time is a little bit long on the PS4. I think it took probably approximately, I think, 1 minute for it to load. Maybe it was just like I had like the first year PS4, so it wasn't, the load time was a little bit lengthy at times. But overall, from the graphics, the presentation, the camera angles, this game is beautiful. Now let's talk about the meat of this game, which is the gameplay. This is a side scroller action game where you have various skills that you get to unlock as the story progresses, various combos. You use your analog to do most of it, of course, with your button correspondence of square, triangle, L1 to block or parry. The problem with this game, and this is where the disappointment comes into play when it comes to the gameplay here. The gameplay has the key components down pack, which is good. It's a side-scrolling action. Problem is, there is at times the button, especially when it comes to blocking, and I know there might be some people like, oh, you just need to get good. No, sometimes the buttons can be a little bit unresponsive, such as right here. I'm pressing up, but he's still just jabbing. The combos at times can feel a little bit clunky, and you really have to do a little bit more precision. And it's not about timing per se. It's just at times the combat controls can feel a little bit clunky. As far as it comes to game design, it's a very linear game. They do give you a little bit of pathways here to unlock collectibles. You can go different roads to unlock collectibles. items and things of that nature. But for the most part, it's a straight, narrow path. Enemies can feel a little bit repetitive. It's not that much variety in the terms of enemies. And once you figure out how to defeat every type of enemy type, the game becomes a breeze. Like there's some enemies that you could just hit them with the arrow and they're gone. There's some enemies that you have to hit with a more stronger attack, the strong attack compared to the weak attack. And it's easy. Once you learn the pattern of each enemy, it becomes a breeze, even on its hardest level. So there's not much variety when it comes to enemies. There is variety when how they look, but as how they present it. But when it comes to actual approaches, it's really not that much of a variety here. In the game, some might say 5 hours is short for a game. This game is only $20, so a 5 hour game for $20, I'm not really going to complain about. But the game you can beat truly in just one day, in one sitting. If you just have nothing to do, you can run through this game in 5 hours and call it a day. As far as replay value, I wouldn't say much replay value in this. Final thoughts, I will definitely say that the game is enjoyable. Combat is a little bit clunky, but this is something I would recommend if it's on sale. If it's on sale, if you see it at least at 14 instead of the 20, I would say you can get it. If you see it at 10 instead of the 20, I would say get it. The game is 5 hours, not that much variety when it comes to the enemies and weapons or even attacks for that matter. There are a couple of combos that you unlock as the game progresses. And as the game progresses, I would say it gets a little bit more fun. They start to introduce puzzles and things of that nature to spice up the variety of it. But the boss battles, I would say, also, it's nothing on Sifu level or Ghost of Tsushima. Just to do a little bit comparison there. The bosses are fun, a little bit challenging. But once again, once you learn the pattern and once you have weapons, it becomes much of a breeze. So overall, this for me is a wait for a sale. I wouldn't really get this now. I would say add it to your collection eventually, but when it's a little bit cheaper. It is short. The combat, as you can see, at times cannot be as responsive as I would hope. Hopefully there'll be a patch to make it a little bit more accurate, but otherwise than that, I have to say I was disappointed. I had really high hopes that this was going to be like the next Sifu, next Ghost of Tsushima with a side-scrolling feel to it. Aesthetically, it looks good. Presentation-wise, it really does feel like an old-school samurai movie, but you need more than that to get people's attention. So this is Justin from otakusgeeks.com saying later days. I will catch you in the next one. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, and most importantly, visit otakusgeeks.com. Peace.